Next thing that we want to do is look at a couple case studies. So the main purpose of this webinar is to say, how can you respond to the climate crisis? And so what we're going to do is look at a couple of examples of businesses that you'll be familiar with and how they're responding to it and how you could potentially take from that and use it in your own strategy. So the first example that we want to talk about is Shopify. Some of you may have heard of this e-commerce company in Ottawa, the tech darling of Canada. Shopify has been incredibly successful, and as a result, they have a lot of ability to respond to trends like this. And on September 12th, 2019, just a couple weeks ago, Tobias Lut, the CEO, announced a letter and created the Shopify initiative to respond to the climate crisis. And so what they did is they committed every year to spending at least $5 million USD to fight climate change. And so every year they're putting money towards this. And that includes like transitioning their operations, that includes moving towards certain types of buildings and helping their customers achieve certain ends. But on top of that, within that 5 million, at least 1 million of it is going towards carbon sequestration, so pulling carbon out of the air. And that goes towards their carbon negative commitment. It's a really interesting commitment on Shopify's behalf because they recognize that we're not going to get where we need to go to stay below 1.5 if we're just at 0. At this point, we need to actually be pulling out to offset some of the emissions around the world. And so what they've done is commit to this carbon sequestration fund. They're saying, we're going to invest in technologies that can bring carbon out of the air. Now, the way they're focusing on it is they're trying to create some market demand for this technology because right now it's incredibly expensive. And I think the best way to go about carbon sequestration and having a negative carbon footprint is actually to invest in natural ways of doing so. If you look at a tree is a perfect carbon sequestration tool, which is one of the reasons so many political and business strategies include planting trees to offset carbon emissions. Trees are pillars of carbon that pull more out of the air as they grow. It's a perfect system for sequestration. And there are other ways through conservation and through initiatives like that you can reduce carbon from the air. But it's interesting to see how Shopify has done it. On top of that, when they're looking at procuring new office space and they're growing fast, they prioritize LEED certified offices. As far as I know, they're choosing only LEED from now on, but they may not be completely LEED at this point. And finally, they want carbon neutral operations in offices. So to get to that carbon negative commitment, they have to be neutral from their operations, which is a really significant milestone for them. One of the quotes from their page says, anthropogenic climate change caused by human activity, is the greatest challenge of our time, and we need to tackle it together. So what they're doing is they're setting themselves as an example that other companies can then follow and potentially learn from the way that they've done so, just as we're doing it right now.